Now, the creator of St. George is in East Texas. He's an animator. And let's go to his site here. This is really cool. He's doing a campaign. Look at that. So
Oh, wow.
here's the website for St. George. The Saint it's saint-george-guild.shorthandstories.com. St. George, an animated epic from the Anvil Guild by Tyson Rains. Crash the gate, slay the serpent, bring her home. So this is supposed to be kind of like a pitch deck. In the silence, in the ruin, when even your own voice turns against you, just believe the word that is written down. Look at this. I just love the animation. Every day, our kids are being discipled, not just in church pews, but not only at the dinner table, but through glowing screens, fed a steady stream of stories that mock truth, blur good and evil, and twist the very idea of what it means to be human. But stories shape souls. And if we don't give our children something better, they'll drink from broken wells and call it water. St. George was made for this hour, not to just entertain, but to reignite imagination, to give our sons and daughters a hero worth following, a man who fights not for fame, but to glorify God, a saint who stands when the world bows. This isn't just a film, it's a spark. Pass it down, share it, make it part of your family's story. So one day their children will rise and remember we didn't let the dragon have the last word. Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
He calls this a father's call.
Wow.
The film overview. An age-old darkness stirs beneath bones of stones and echoes of the past. So there's some pictures here. It's very dark, but there's some really good ones. Down here is the overview. Beneath the scorched stars of Augsland, men live like ghosts, crushed beneath the boots of cyclopean overlords and seemingly forgotten by heaven. In that abyss, George, a slop cart slave with no history and no hope, pushes through filth and silence, his only companion a rat named Elpis. When the giants crush that small trembling light, George breaks. Tormented by shadows, by mocking reflections and the slander of demons, George stumbles upon a strange song there in the dungeon deep, a sound of men caged and fattened like livestock, singing hymns to an unknown God with power that flooded the darkest chambers of his soul with holy light. In a blaze of fire and fury, George leads a jailbreak through hell itself. He takes hold of a sword no one else would touch and becomes a weapon of wrath. The Cyclops fall. The men flee, riding a unicorn through shattered gates into the wasteland beyond. But the world is still broken. At the frontier stronghold of All Saints, George is baptized into Christ, forged in brotherhood, trained by saints and with scars, Pax the lawman, Preach the priest, Vera, Andrew, Puros, Philemon. While George grows in strength and faith, corruption festers in the capital. The king, drunk on power and deceived by priests of a dragon god, sent his own daughter to be sacrificed. As demons and giants storm the frontier, George rises, not just a soldier, but the long-awaited leader. Commissioned in secret by a now repentant king, he and the 6 saints set out for Mount Dagon before the king's once allied priest class could catch wind. Through wastelands, storms, harpy swarms, false angels, poisoned waters, and a tomb of frozen giants, they fight not just enemies, but themselves. Each man is tested, each virtue weaponized against him. Alone in a black storm, George falls to his knees. Lord, did you bring me out here just to die? He cries. But heaven answers. Elpis returns. Fire fills his bones. George rises transfigured, a burning lion in a land of ash. At the gates of Dagon, the saints stand as one. They strike down the dragon, shatter the altar, and rescue the king's daughter from death. They return not as fugitives, but as saints, as deliverers, treading the great green grass of a kingdom ripe with restoration. They drew
Wow.
power from the dragon's breath, but the day is coming that will leave them stubble, their names swept away like ash on the wind. I think that's speaking of the evil priests. So yeah, Saints and Serpents. Saint George. I guess that's the good guys and the bad guys, good characters and bad characters. There's Saint George, there's the priests of Dagon, Puros, All Saints Ranger, the dragon, Dagon. Yeah, All Saints Rangers. I mean, this looks extremely good.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And this is not just like a comic book, which would be all awesome all by itself. This is an animated film.
So it's a film? It's not a, is it a short?
I don't know if it's a short. They didn't say the length. Oh, it says 4-part animated series. I'm sorry, I thought it was a film. A
Wow.
4-part animated series. That's almost even better because that's probably even longer.
Yeah,
I mean, unless each part is very short. Each part could be like 5 minutes long.
yeah,
But that still sounds amazing.
that sounds great. I can't wait to
Yeah.
see that.
Man, I would love to see that as a film too.
Yeah,
That's probably why I was saying, because I'm like, I want to see this as a film. So this is a testimonial. Somebody says St. George is a searing, soul-forged epic that scorches through darkness with mythic weight and prophetic fire. Rains craft a world both brutal and beautiful, where saints rise from the ash and the breath of dragons meets the sword of light. It's a rare fusion of high fantasy and spiritual grit, equal parts Exodus, Apocalypse, and Brotherhood. The animation pulses with cinematic power, but it's the story's heart, a man broken, remade, and commissioned, that leaves a brand. This isn't just a film, it's a reckoning. So that's why I think that's another reason I thought it was a film. Some people say film on here. So there's the creator from East Texas. Tyson Raines is an illustrator, animator, and designer from East Texas, where he lives with his wife and 2 sons. His portfolio is vast and diverse, including children's books, album art, print and digital design, music videos, apparel, product design, merchandise, and more. So he's a big designer. Obviously, his forms and shapes and just the way he draws things, it's got a lot of kind of epicness to it.
yeah.
The colors are really well thought out. Look at that bright red. I mean, that's great. And then when it gets blue and yellow, it gets really, the dragon, it's like you would think it would be red maybe, but this is even somehow more majestic and yet evil, right? It's like he's got a good choice of colors here. He's St. George looks very simple here, but ready for battle. And then he changes into this, I guess he calls him like a something of like a lion of flame. He transforms into this, right?
Wow.
So it's quite impressive. I'm just like, this is really great. I discovered this guy on X, and it just looks like totally worthy project to back. Hopefully this will it won't take too long for them to make it, and it will be backed quickly, hopefully. We'll see once they start the crowd fund, we will, if it's a crowd, I don't even know. I guess it's a crowd fund, but even if it's not, man, I'll be buying whatever it is. So
Yeah,
it looks pretty cool.
does. Looks amazing.
Yeah. Last week I talked about small creators, and he's one of them. Like he's one of these kinds of people that need support, need help. So many people out there, they don't think that people outside of Hollywood can do great work. You know, they look at the faith-based media or whatever, and they think, oh, this is like, there's no hope for us. Like, I don't know why they're thinking these thoughts, but there's plenty of incredible stuff that Christians can make and do make, but they need somewhere to share it. We've talked about how the genre, the faith-based genre, is very strict. It's the strictest genre I know of. I mean, even romance and comedy is not strict compared to faith-based film. I mean, we should it should be the equivalent of horror, except for Christians, in the sense that it should be highly creative. Horror is the most creative genre. People can do almost anything with a horror film. And that's almost the idea of a horror film is that it's so creative, it's scary, right? But that lets you know what, you know, that genre is like that. It's so creative, it's scary. Well, we need something that's so good it's scary. You know what I mean? And this is the kind of stuff, St. George, that's so good it's kind of like it's rich. It's good stuff,
Yeah.
you know? It's not like weak, thin, you know, slop for people to eat. So this is the kind of stuff we need more of. And that means we need backers, we need supporters for it, because these people won't be able to continue doing this work. Nobody can. Nobody from Hollywood could continue to do the work they do without being paid. So these kinds of people need support. They don't have a whole system behind them. They don't have thousands of people buying tickets like in theaters or on their streaming service like Netflix. They don't have that. You know, Netflix didn't become rich by making slop. They became rich by people supporting them. People believing that Netflix, like, okay, this is a terrible product, but maybe the next one's going to be good. I'll keep the subscription. Maybe the next one will be good. And it never comes. It's never worth it. Right? It's just going to keep leading you on. But this kind of stuff pays off, right? So we want this kind of stuff to pay off. We want these artists that can keep making good stuff, and we're gonna keep supporting them.
Yeah. I mean, this is very much like the kind of thing you've talked about before, like the meaningfulness of the story of St. George. And
Exactly.
why has no one explored this before? And
Mhm.
so this is pretty exciting. Like, I'm really looking forward to it.
It is, and I even did a whole podcast episode on St. George and the ripeness of that myth,
Mm.
how important and powerful it is. And a lot of the stuff this guy has in this pitch deck is almost exactly like my ideas there, where this guy has to take down this evil dragon, and the daughter is either captured in some way through evil ideology or captured in some way through possibly being sacrificed. But her family, if not her, right, then her family has been captured by this evil dragon. And it's not just, right, a dragon, it's symbolic. And so are all these good knights and fighters as well. It's symbolic. It's symbolic of the battle of good versus evil in the world.